Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone who's here from the Sudbury area, from London, England. Special welcome to my mother. A big thank you to Vered, all the way from Israel, from the Shomron. And I also like to welcome, we have, I think, a couple people here from Chabad of Mansfield in Massachusetts. So big welcome to them. Thank you, everyone. And it's really nice to see everyone in this format, at least. It's a different kind of format that I'm used to, but it's still at least it's something. But I wanted to just give a little introduction to Vered before Vered shares her talk. So a couple years ago, we were in Israel, and I always, I love to go to Israel whenever I can. And I was like really upset a few months ago when they closed the borders. It's like, okay, even if I'm not going right now, but just the feeling that I can't go was very hard. But anyway, one of my trips a couple of years ago, we were there with the whole family for a wedding with my in-laws, my cousins, and many other people from the family. We went to visit one day. We went on Route 60, and we went through the area of Binyamin, and we ended up coming to. We had this tour guide, and he took us to the Tura Winery, which is the winery that Vered with her husband, they run together. She'll give you all the details. But I'll just tell you, it was a phenomenal day that day. We just saw so many parts of Israel that day that I had never seen properly, never discovered, which are really so much part of the history of our people. And what I loved about going there, things we learn about every day, all of a sudden, it's like, you're walking in those places, you're experiencing the history firsthand. And one of the highlights of that day, perhaps the highlight, was the winery. Not just that the wine was really good. I remember the wine, it was really, really good. But besides that, just the whole experience and meeting Vered and her telling the story of how they made this winery and really meeting people who, through their sweat and blood, literally, well, not blood, but, it's hard work. They've really taken the hills and transformed them into beautiful places of growth, of bringing out the fruit of the land, bringing out the blessings of Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash, it's a land flowing in milk and honey, and really bringing it out in such a beautiful way. And what they did there in their town and their village is something really special. But then I also found out that she has her own, beautiful journey of her own family's story. And we became friends a little bit on Facebook, and I keep up with her beautiful things that she's doing for the land. But she can tell you the whole story in person. But it was just the winery is a success story despite so many challenges, and employs a lot of local people. And obviously the last few months have been a challenge for the winery like everyone else, but they've really done such a phenomenal job over the years in building up something beautiful and exporting some of the beautiful blessings of the land of Israel to not just within Israel, but really to the land, to all of us all over the world. So I want to give a big thank you to Vered for joining us. Vered has a lot to balance, running a winery. I think she has a son in the army and children, and it's Lag BaOmer already in Israel, which is a very special, happy day. So we appreciate you spending time with us, and I'm going to pass it over to you. And Vered's going to speak, and then later on we'll do some questions. Vered's going to speak for about 20, 25 minutes or so, and then we're going to do questions, and people can ask whatever they want. So the floor is yours, Vered. You there, Vered? Oh yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Shalom, everybody from Israel. Yeah, I'm Vered Ben. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. As I'm Vered Ben Saadon, I'm the wife of Erez, and we're the owners of the Tura Winery that's located in Rechilim, 2 minutes from Ariel. Ariel is a city in Samaria, one of the biggest, like 20,000 people, and Rechilim is 2 minutes from there, and we're like 100 families living in Rechilim. We married 25 years ago. We lived on Mount Gerizim. I was 18 in a week, Erez was after the army, and we married very young. And we want to live on Mount Gerizim, the Mount of Blessing, the mountain from the Bible, the Mount of Blessing. And until today, there is a mount, of course, and that's the mountain that's in the other side, but that mountain is really empty until today. Only the army base is there, but that's it, more or less. On the Mount Gerizim is a community, and the name is Har Bracha. And also, we have our own vineyards there, like 200 acres of agriculture. We grow vineyards and olive trees, and we produce 100,000 bottles a year of wine and also olive oil that is very high quality cold press, and the acidity is less than 0.3. If somebody knows, usually the acidity must be not more than 0.8. In our case it's less than 0.3, and the meaning is it's really, really high quality. Anyway, we began planting after we married, and we waited for 4 years because of Orla in Etarevai. In Israel, you must wait, it's the Holy Land. You must wait 4 years before you can use the fruits for the first time. After the 4 years, we began harvest, and we sold the grapes for like 2 years to a big winery in the country, and they produce high quality of wine. But unfortunately, because of politics, that winery decided to stop buying the grapes because they got a problem to sell the wine because it was growing in Samaria. And then we were a young couple, and we got a really big problem because all the money was invested in the land. And we tried to open a winery, and we opened a Tura Winery in 2003 with 1,200 bottles only. Today we're producing 100,000 bottles a year. 40% we export. Actually, I came back from the States in February. I sold so many wines, and I was so happy. But unfortunately, because of the Corona, all the wines stuck in the warehouse, and I guess it's still there until I hope Rosh Hashanah, or until the Corona will stop, and then you can buy them there. But we need the Corona to pass, and then we can continue. And also, I supposed to be this week in England. We sell to Drumstick Wines, if somebody knows. And also there, it's the same situation like all over. We sell in Russia, in Switzerland, in Panama, but all over the world, it's the same. It's stuck, and people buy wine online, but the stores are not working so hard. Thank God in Israel now, my employees, most of them will come back, I hope, next week, and we can continue our very important job. But people were on a long vacation like 2 months. And you must know that Passover is the biggest time of the year for the wine industry. And all the wineries around the world were stuck this Passover, and hopefully we can deal with it after. Today we have 200 acres of agriculture, and it's a big, if you come one day, we invite you to come visit. You can see the whole mountain is full with vineyards, and it's really great. And you can look to the sea. Israel is a very small country, like you know. And when you stand in the vineyards, you can see actually both sides of the country. You can see Jordan and the sea. And one of our wines is the Heartland, because we're located in the heartland of Israel. And when you stand in the vineyards, it's the only way to understand why it's important to live in Samaria. Because when you stand there, you see the Ben Gurion Airport, you see Jordan and the sea, you can understand that the width of Israel is only 70 kilometers. It's very, very narrow. And usually, it's small. It's a really small country. And as we sell today to the wine stores, the restaurants, hotels, and also a lot we sell in Tel Aviv. And Tel Aviv, these people, we love them. They are my brothers and sisters, but usually they don't come to visit in Samaria. They even don't know where it is. I can tell you, I had the honor to host Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, all the members of Knesset. And one of them even was asking, where is Gush Katif? And there the people sit and make the decisions. And this member of Knesset even doesn't know where is Gush Katif. It's so far from Rechelim. It's in the, south, it's really far. But most of the people, they don't know. It's about ignorance, And we invite them all, and we host them, show them that we live like in the center of Israel. And when they come visit, they think a little bit different. They see the situation with their own eyes, and then it's very hard to, it's a democracy country, you can ask, you can speak, but you can understand a little bit better the situation. It's not like Palestine is there, the Arabs live there. We live with the Arabs like 100 meters, very close by. What I can tell you, we feel that what we're doing today is a part of the prophets of Jeremiah. Because 2,000 years ago, people produced a lot of wine in our area in Samaria, and they took it to the temple in Jerusalem. In the Gemara, it's called Alpha Layain. Alpha is the best. The best wine was produced in Samaria and Shomron. And then the exile happened, and the Jews kicked out of our lovely country, or lovely land. It was no country then. And Jeremiah the prophet was standing here in these hills and promised the people, Od titik ramim be'arei Shomron. The meaning is, one day you should come back to your land, begin plant vineyards and produce wine again. And we had the honor to come back after really waiting so long time, back to the Mount of Gerizim, that was the Mount of Blessing, that was empty, plant vineyards, and have, thank God, one of the best ones in Israel today. We have like around 70 awards from all around the world. A decanter in England, a Vinalis in France. Of course, it's a blind tasting. Nobody knows where the wines came from. And that helped us to go up around the border of the politics. Because in the end, we don't want people to judge me because we live in Samaria. I want people to judge my wine like it is. Good wine, only be professional. But unfortunately, because we decide to live in Samaria and produce here, we have to deal with also stories like that and issues like that. I can tell you that like 2 weeks ago, there was Corona, very horrible time for everyone. And we didn't know how we can sell wine, even a little bit. And even though in this hard time, there is one journalist in Israel, and he posted a post really, really sad and hate against me and my husband. He found an old article that was like 1.5 years ago that he spoke, and somebody asked him if we employ Arabs, and he said no. And he took that sentence and he made a big article and post about how Tura Winery hate Arabs and so on. You can imagine how bad it was. People took my bottles, put stickers of Hitler after the Holocaust Day in Israel, day after, and wrote, it's the new series of Tura Winery 1945. As you can imagine, how hate can hurt people, and it's so sad. I can tell you that I ignored that guy. I sent him a letter from a lawyer that he has to take care, because I will not be quiet if he continue. And thank God he stopped, because he supposed to make two very big articles in the News of Israel, and thank God he didn't promote that. He didn't promote, anyway, he didn't wrote it. And then we still were hurt very much. But I'm telling you that story because to understand that you can understand how we have to suffer only because we try to do our best to live in Samaria, be good people, and produce good wines. That's our own crime. And fortunately, there are still people, even these hard times, that think that this is the most important thing to hate. It's very, very sad for me. Anyway, I hope every story like that, we take the lemon and try to make lemonade. And a lot of people buy on purpose because of that guy. But I don't want, if you ask me, I want to live here in peace and produce wine, and that's it. I don't want to deal with politics. I don't want to tell politics, but because unfortunately people see Samaria as a politics issue, from time to time I have also to talk politics, and it's okay because it's my opportunity to answer people questions, because most of them have never been here, they don't know, and They really believe that Samaria is somewhere very far away. There's very bad people with horns and a tail. And like you can see me, I don't have horns, also not under my hat. And that's my opportunity also in the winery. We are very happy to host people, to give them good time, give them a good taste of the wine, and feel and see how the prophets of Jeremiah became alive. And we had the honor to be a part of that. And we focus on that. And I can tell you a little bit about my personal story that you can understand how not appropriate is it to put stickers of Hitler on my bottles. My grandmother survived the Holocaust. She was 15 in Holland. And she was, first of all, I will tell you that I was born to a Jewish father and a non-Jewish mother. And my parents were students in a theology school in Holland. And they were asking the teacher, why don't teach Judaism? And he told them he don't know how to teach it, it's too complicated. They began to ask other people. We made Aliyah to Israel, we converted. And today my parents living in Kochav Shachar, also half an hour from Rechelim. And they're the neighbors of my in-laws that came from Morocco and Iran. We have 5 children. My oldest is 23. We have a grandson, he is 1 year and a half. She's married, almost 3 years. Then we have David. David is a very, very good officer in the army. He finished his 3 years and now he's continuing because he's so good. They asked him to stay. And we saw him now after 6 weeks because they were not allowed to go home because of the corona. And then we have Shachar is 17. She goes to the army I guess in July. Then we have Yonatan Karmi. Karmi is my vineyard because he was born during the harvest, and Karmi is my vineyards. And that's the meaning. And the little one is Hallel Smadar. Hallel is like hallelujah, to praise. Smadar is the blooming of the vineyards in Hebrew. And she was born on Sunday. Every Saturday we read a part of the Bible. And that Shabbat we wrote about the spies who took the fruits of Israel and told the people bad things about the land of Israel. And she was born on Sunday, and we try to praise our lovely land with our products, and we try to do our best, and we feel like part of what we're trying to do is to praise our land with our products. And because of that, her name is Hallel Madar. From the Jewish side of my family, my grandmother survived the Holocaust. She was 15. Same story like the Anna Frank story. She wrote a diary and she hid it by good people. Actually, I can tell you that this week, the son of that good person passed away, as also good words for them in this opportunity. And my grandmother was hidden by these good people and she wrote a diary. And when I was 12 at mitzvah, I was very proud to get her diary. And when my oldest was 12, we got together to Yad Vashem. I gave it to her, and together we gave it to Yad Vashem to a memorial here for the people all around the world that can read it and see it there. But from the non-Jewish side of my family, I had relatives, including the mother of my mother, that helped the Nazis during the war. And that is something that I realized a few years ago. And I was begging my mother to tell and to show, and that I really know what happened. And actually she didn't know. And she went to Holland because I was asking, and she went to the archive, and she realized that her mother was also a part of that. She educated kids to the Nazis' ideas. She and her brothers really helped the Nazis. She really also was, not married, but she was, engaged to really a Gestapo man. And after the Holocaust, she got the punishment to be 1 year in Westerbork. That was a concentration camp for Jews. But after the Holocaust, it was a place that these people were punished. and they shaved her hair, and she was there for 1 year as punishment. And that's something that my mother realized only like 3 years ago, after she went to Holland to open the archive. And when we went with her to Westerbork, we had also the opportunity to meet the good people that helped my family. And also in that opportunity, we met the kids of these people that helped the Nazis, her cousins that she didn't saw never, ever. And was really interesting, really exciting. And we met them at Westerbork as well, because we said it's important that they will see the history, because they're not Jewish. They don't know what their parents, maybe they know what their parents did, but they never went to Westerbork before we were asking for that. As that was the place where we met them and spoke about our history, and was really, really exciting and good to know. I can tell you that this story I took it today. I'm not proud of it, but it's a part of my history, and I try to take it and do good with it, to share the people, because my story is not only my story, it's the story of the Jewish people. Everybody came from his parts, and together we're the Jewish nation, and we try, all of us try to do the best every time, every day. And I can tell you that you think it's a complicated story, but it's much more complicated, but I will not go into all the details, only to tell you that also these days, we're still suffering because we're Jewish. And also we had 3 times explosions of terror bombs in the vineyards, and thank God I was not injured. And that's the reason why we don't employ Arabs, because we're afraid of our life. We have Itamar, the communities next to us is Itamar, Elon More, Itzhar, Har Bracha. All of them have a lot of people that were murdered, good friends of us during the years, the 15 last years. And that's the reason, if you're asking. And I wish will come one day, maybe I'm naive, that we can work together, but that's not the first step we have to do. The first step is to build new trust between the people, speak without journalists, without media, without politicians, speak people to people, build a new trust. Only then, after we have that, we can go to the next step, that's interest, money, work, and so on. But that's for me, not the first step for sure. Also, we had several times that people cut us the trees because of, they don't want us to live here. We had, they stole our olives. We had really BDS movement that we have to deal with, that also actually is against Israel, but it's more popular to say it's against Samaria. But the truth is, these organizations are against Israel in general. As we still suffer, we still, every day is the, we never know what will be the next day, but I can promise that we continue to do our good work, and every day is a miracle, because for each journalist like that guy, we have good people like you that are curious, that want to ask, that want to see, that want to know, and that's the most important part of my work, that people have the opportunity to ask, and then everybody can has his ideas. It's okay, it's democracy, thank God for that. But it's important to know, to hear, and to come visit, and to see with your own eyes. I think that's maybe the most important part of my mission in the world for today. And of course, wine is the best opportunity to bond people together, to drink, to have good wine, to laugh, and try to be better people with a good glass of wine. And that for now, Rabbi Friedman, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for listening. And of course, I will be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, I just want to ask one quick question before you move on to take questions from the people. If I remember correctly, when we were there, you also had us taste the olive oil, to drink the olive oil, and you were explaining that.
Right.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, as we grow today in our, let's say, vineyards, also olive trees, and we have our own olive press and produce wine and olive oil. And it's really, really healthy to drink every morning a shot of good olive oil, but it must be good quality. If not, it will be not healthy. If you take a shot of olive oil with a half a lemon, a little bit pepper and turmeric that cleans, it will clean your veins, will be very good. It's a very good recipe. All the cardiologists that I host during the years agree with that recipe, but the olive oil must be cold pressed, good acidity, less than 0.8, and you must look for the quality, because if the price is very low, usually the quality is bad. As don't buy cheap olive oil, that's for sure. And usually also we drink wine together. Unfortunately, we cannot do that today, but we wait to see all of you in the winery in the future, and we will do that in the future.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. Do you sell wines in the US, and do you know if you have any distributors in the Boston area, and the olive oil also?
Okay, as of course we sell, like I told you, 40% overseas, most of it in the States. I'm traveling usually a lot in the States, but these days I stuck here. And I'm supposed to be in June in the States, but I don't think it will be happen this time. But Bezrat Hashem, I hope maybe August before Rosh Hashanah. And yes, you can look, Rabbi Friedman can share our online store in the States, and then you can order there for sure. And also in Boston, I was there like last September. There was a big event of wine. I was there, and I know they have it also in the supermarket there. There's one big one, I forgot the name, but we have it also there. But the easiest way, and they will deliver to your home, is the link that Rabbi Friedman can share with you after.
Hello. I have a question for you. Can you? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
I can hear you. I cannot see you.
Okay, thank you. I am real curious. You've talked about being your neighbors being Arabs, and the people stealing the tree from the trees. And what I'm wondering about is the actual contact you have with them, and when you see them in the neighborhood, and when you pass each other by, what kind of communication do you have with each other? Could you describe that, please?
Okay, as first, it's not New York, like you live everybody together in one neighborhood. In Rechelim, fortunately, we live inside, not a fence, because we don't want to live in a ghetto, but we have dogs and cameras around the community, and nobody is allowed to come closer because it's dangerous. Who's coming closer, usually there is a problem.
Yeah, you described them as being very close by. That's why I.
Right, I can see them. And if you come to Israel one day, you will see Rami Levy is a big supermarket, and they come shop with us in the same supermarket. But I think that's the only relations we have. In the past, there were a lot of relations, and then the Intifada begins, and it became to be dangerous. And I can tell you that if one kid of them were lost and go in my community, of course we will give them a good glass of water and look for his parents. Unfortunately, if my kid will go outside our area and go to the next neighborhood, he will not come back. And that's something my kids know. It's not allowed, it's dangerous to go outside. It's not a fence again, but they know where it's not allowed to go out because it's really dangerous. You must know that our kids go in a bus that is an anti-bulletproof bus because they shoot on the buses in the past. My car has special windows because they throw stones, and it's really dangerous. You can injure very much or become dead if you go very hard and fast into a stone that they throw on your window when you're driving. And they don't do that. We need to defend ourselves. And I can say that unfortunately there is almost no relations because it's not Israeli Arabs, they're Palestinians. The meaning is they live in the next neighborhood, but they're not citizens of Israel. And some of them are enemies of Israel, and you never know who. But who comes closer to the community? If you don't come through the gates, usually it's for bad reasons. And we had 3 times that people tried to come in, and thank God for good people that donate cameras, and the cameras stopped them. If not, was like in Itamar, I don't know if you know, but the community Itamar is like 20 minutes from Rechelim, and they have more than 20 people that get murdered during the years. Fogel family, Shabu family, a lot of people, and it's not easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. First of all, I'm from a kibbutz in Israel originally, but I've lived here in America for many years. First of all, I want to applaud you for doing what you're doing, for living in our ancient ancestral homeland, and not just living there, but cultivating the land, which is where the more part of the original Israel, Judah and Israel than the coastal towns of Tel Aviv and Haifa and so on. So kudos to you. And I have more of a personal question, I guess, is if you do still have contacts with your family in Europe, in Holland, if there's any point of contention about you living and doing what you're doing and living in the so-called Palestinian area.
I called it Samaria.
Right.
That's the original name.
I do too, but yeah, for them it's
Okay. As first, thank you very much. Let's say it like that. If you read the Bible, you will see that Abraham and Joseph were walking on our mountains. Elon Moreh, Shechem, Beth El. It's all like 20 minutes each side. Shiloh, the tabernacle was in Shiloh. It's like 10 minutes from Rechelim. As everything is like the history is walking around. That's for sure. I still have aunt, a sister of my grandmother. She is 93. She's living in Holland, and she was also hiding in the Holocaust. She's still alive. I can tell you that when the Corona began, I asked her, how do you deal with it? It's like, I was afraid that the Holocaust is coming again, because it's not about, we were collecting food. Nobody knows what will happen. And I asked her, how do you deal with it? And she said, actually, I can't imagine that twice in my life I have to go through something so similar for one point of view. But she said, I still have my balcony. I can sit in the sun with the birds. And that's a big difference, because in the Holocaust, they were hiding underground, and that's for her was the biggest difference. And she is still alive. And of course, we are in contact with her. About the family of my mother, these people, no, we're not in contact. I can tell you also there, my mother doesn't want to, but I first heard that I needed to know. And I can't say it was easy to meet them, because they say it's not my problem. It's not my, you can't blame us. Of course I can't, because they were not alive, but I didn't saw they were so sorry. That's what I can tell you. That's why I'm still blaming them, because I was ashamed if it was my parents. As we don't have contact with them anymore.
Thank you. Any other questions? Bob,
Yes. Sorry. What brought you to Panama?
Panama?
Yes.
Okay. We have a distributor there. His name is Deli Kasher. 2 big stores he has, Yaron. He's an Israeli guy that lives there. And I met him several times in exhibitions, in the winery. And he looks for good wines. He also sells wines, and he looks for good stuff. And that was the reason why he was in contact with us. And also I look for distributors every time. Actually, in November, last November, I was in the States in the exhibition of kosher. What was the name? I forgot. You have a kosher, what? Right. Kosher Fest, and there I met a guy from England. That's how I opened a new market for England. Last year, I met the guy from Switzerland. As we meet people there in exhibitions, they taste the wine, you see it's very good stuff, and then it's history. That's it.
How many years does it take to grow a vine till you get grapes that you can make good wine from?
Okay, okay. We wait 4 years because of halacha,
Right.
because of Jewish rules. But I can tell you the vines, how old they are, how best they are. As let's say we have now vines that are 20 years old, they have the best quality. Olive trees, when we plant them, it takes like 8 years until they will be profitable. Will take more years.
Interesting. Any
Yes.
other questions?
I have a
I
question.
just have a comment. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
well, now during Corona, our kids have been planting, doing a lot of gardening. So I'm interested to know what was the process to get the mountain or the hill from how you found it until you were able to grow anything or plant anything.
Again, you asked about the Corona in the beginning?
No.
Well, you explain.
Yeah. No, she just asked, like we know we try to plant a lot of stuff now in that backyard. There's rocks and there's earth and different kinds of what was the process? How hard or easy was it to start making vineyards on the mountains where you live? Was it hard?
Agriculture is hard work. Agriculture, you must pray for rain. You must be very patient until something will happen. Then only then it will take a long time. But if you wait, it will worth it in the end. That I can promise you.
Was it rocky? Was it a rocky land or was it earth?
On the mountain, we have a lot of rocks, but that's good for the vineyards because they send the roots. How longer the roots are, they go to the water inside the mountains. That's what makes them the highest quality. The vines has to suffer a little bit, and then they became to be very good. It's not about to irrigate a lot. That's maybe for tomatoes, but not for vines.
Wow, interesting.
But I wish you a lot of atzlacha and a lot of success because when you burn to the land, you will feel better. That's a good, very good solution for Corona.
I think Maritza wanted to say something. Maritza? Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing. I was fortunate this year to go to Shiloh before the Corona this February, and my mind was just open, like you hear and you see, and I think it's so powerful that you share because it gives us wisdom and perspective. And especially like in my own history, I have something similar to you where, I had family that is Jewish and family who is not. So it's really powerful. It's encouraging, and I thank you for doing that. And I can't wait to taste your wine. Go there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very much. I can tell you that Shiloh, also for me, even I'm living here so many years, is a really powerful place because you see, there is a video there that you can see and you feel in the tabernacle time, and you see how the history that is 2,000 years is now, is reality, and how we bond to our land, how we supposed to be here. It's something you feel very strong when you are there. I agree.
Yeah, it's powerful. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much.
One more thing. I remember what the tour guide was telling us, but it makes sense, is based on the topography, the road that we went on to go from Beth El to Shiloh, to Rechelim to Shiloh, that would have been the same road that was used for thousands of years by probably our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and they walked up. This was the ancient road that existed at the bottom of the hills. So it's amazing to live there. So, wow. Well, thank you.
If you read the Bible, you can see all the places on the way. And how also something important to know that we have somebody in Israel that made a map of all the places with the old names of the Bible time, and that you see there are villages still have the same names. They change it a little bit, but it sounds the same, and you can see the connection between the Bible name of the place and the Arabic name, as actually they kept the names. And again, you see that we belong to this land. There's no doubt about that.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Any other final question? One more question? Not for now. Okay, well, I'll just really encourage you. First of all, you should taste the wine. It's really good.
Yeah, what happens to the olive oil?
Oh, the olive oil. What happens to the olive oil?
Okay, as we have a person in the States, his name is Steve, he's not Jewish. And actually, I can tell you more, I have a lot to tell, but these people, they're evangelical people. They want to help the people that live in Samaria and the people who live in Israel in general. They come to volunteer in the field during the harvest and during the time of the harvest. And he, after he knows us personally now, he decided to open an online store. The name is Blessed by Israel. If you look for Blessed by Israel, you will find Tura olive oil in his store and other products of Samaria as well.
Right. He had a question: if acidity is not low, what happens to the oil, to the olives?
Okay. Wine supposed to age.
Someone has
yeah, wine supposed to age, olive oil not. From the harvest, you must wait 2 years. No, you not. If you wait, you can wait until 2 years. Expiration date will be after 2 years. Olive oil is supposed to be fresh. As what was the question again?
If there's low acidity in the earth, he
right.
Does that affect?
As our acidity is low, the meaning is also if you wait 2 years, still the acidity will stay under 0.8. That's the maximum by law. But usually people buy in the supermarket, it's already 0.8. They don't know when they produce it, and then the acidity is higher already. But nobody is checking it. You see 0.8, you use it. And the idea of the acidity is also it's full with antioxidants. It's more healthier. It's really good, and it's better quality. That's the meaning.
Right. And I'll ask one more question because no one else is asking right now. But how did you learn how to grow things? Did you study this early on? Was it a passion? How did you come up with the idea of a winery?
Okay, all the idea was my husband's. I came later, and it is his vision. He's the winemaker, and he does. I talk. That's how we do it. But he really wants to settle the land. It was not because of money, not because of business with no background of agriculture at all. And it was only to settle the land. We love the land of Israel, and we have the opportunity to see how the land gives us love back. It's the only way to see it. And we had no experience at all. We began plant, we wait, we produce, we sold. It's sold to the people that don't want to buy it because of the region. And in the end, we opened a winery that is today one of the best wineries in Israel. And that's a miracle for me. And it's again, the prophets of Jeremiah and the hard work and the blessing of the mountain, the blessing of God, all of it together.
Well, thank you. I'm going to share a 1-minute video that Vered shared with us, which will just give you a little taste of the land. So let's see if I can do this right.
Until you come visit.
I'll just show you one thing here. This is a picture of us in your winery. That's us, my family, in the winery with the barrels. But I want to share something else, which is I'll share the video. Here it is. Let's see if this works. Whoops, one more second. Let me do it one more time, sorry.
It was okay.
Yeah, 1 second. I want to press the settings. Oh, one last time, sorry. You see, one last time, I forgot to press something. Okay. Share computer sound and optimize screen. Okay, should be good now. Let's press play now. See if you can see it.
The first winery grows its 900-foot vineyards on the famous Greece mountain from Bible stories. Tura Winery.
Shalom, everybody. I'm Vered from the Tura Winery in Israel. The winery is located in Rechelim. We came to the mountain of blessing that was empty. After 2,000 years of waiting, we come back to our land, and we began to settle the land. We began to plant vineyards, and after 4 years, we saw that we have one of the best grapes in Israel. Like the prophet of Jeremiah, he said, "Ot titik ramim be'arei Shomron." The meaning is, one day you should come back to your land and plant vineyards and produce wine again. Tura Winery is a family business. As my husband, he is a winemaker, he is the best. I'm the manager of sales and marketing. Together we do a very good job. We have more than 70 awards, international awards from all over the world, that all of them says the wine of Samaria, of the biblical land, is one of the best wines in the world.
Tura Winery also produces fine olive oil. Free shipping with the order of a box of 12 bottles of wine.
Well, thank you. I hope you were able to see that. But a big thank you, and I would encourage everyone to try the wine. I put the link there, or I'll send it out afterwards. And also, when you go to Israel, you will love the visit, both because it's such a beautiful place, and also the winery is an experience with a lot of beautiful history on the personal side of Tura, of Vered and her family, and the place itself. But a big, big thank you. I'm going to put the link again one more time there in the chat, and I will send it out to everyone afterwards for where you can order the wine. And a big thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want Els to join us to say shalom, but I guess he is.
How about is the wine
We don't hear you. Oh, is it Muvshal? Someone asked one if the wine is Muvshal.
Okay, as here in Israel, we don't drink mevushal in the winery. What we produce, some mevushal to the States for the restaurants, and some of them in the stores are also mevushal. If you go in the link, you will see, I guess, if it's mevushal or not. They mention it. If you go inside the website, you will see it.
Can you produce grape juice also, or is it only wine?
Okay, every wine began from grape juice, but no, we don't stop the fermentation. Then we produce until the end, the process, until it's very high quality of wine. If you come during the harvest, you can drink it still straight from the machine, and then it will be the grape juice if you want to taste. It's around, I guess, if you come October, usually Sukkot, we're the middle of the process.
How long does it take to ferment from being a grape to being wine?
Okay, so let's say the fermentation will take like 10 days, and then it will have the next second fermentation, and that will take like 2 months. And in the barrels, it will stay like for 2 years.
Wow.
Today we're selling wines from 2016.
Wow.
It's like 4 years old. I asked Els to join us. His English is not so good, but he will say shalom. And
Shalom, shalom, hello.
Shalom, Erez.
Shalom, shalom.
תודה על כל מה שאתה עושה בארץ, what you do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד.
Thank you very much.
יישר כוח.
Very
And I hope
We'll be in touch in different ways. Niyeh b'kesher. And thank you. You should be healthy, safe, be able to continue making the land bloom and grow and bring out lots of blessings. And God willing, we'll all taste your wine. It will come in our mailboxes soon. We'll order it.
I promise we will do our best.
Okay,
Keep with.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody,
Thank
it was a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, תודה.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.